So some of y'all may remember it was just last year I changed the rope out on this feeder that I have because the ropes just deteriorate in the sun. And long story short, I wound up putting way too big of a rope on here. It doesn't fit. Actually, it fits too good in the pulleys. It wedges itself in it. So it's very hard to get down when it's light and unloaded. So I bought a smaller rope. We're going to change this out today. Plus, I didn't get the right length last time, so it wasn't allowing me to use this double pulley setup. It was making it a little harder to pull up. That I didn't mind as much as it hanging up in the pulley. So I've got to fix that today. So while I'm installing this rope, getting this feeder ready, I've been saving a few pictures. Not many. Sadly, I had a lot saved on some SD cards, and I wound up losing an SD card. Pulled one out of the camera the other day, was driving back, and I think it blew out of my pocket. So it's somewhere back there in the pasture. I had a lot more photos saved up for you, but there's several of y'all that you always ask about the bears around here. A lot of people don't realize we have them in Florida, but we have quite a few bears on this property. There's a few deer pictures. This property, now that I've owned it for a few years, historically, it just has does and yearlings, which that's okay. I'm a hunter, and of course I would love to see just rack bucks running around everywhere, but come around November when the rut kicks in here, if you have all the ladies on your property, that's where the bucks are going to wind up coming. There is a huge several hundred acre, if not thousands of acre swamp way back behind me. That's where all of our bucks tend to kind of stay during this time of year. Come fall, they'll start coming out a little more, and once the rut hits, they're running everywhere around here on this property. So I'm gonna go ahead and show a few pictures off that I've been saving up while I'm working on rigging this up. All right, y'all are not gonna believe this. I'm not making this up. I was just telling you about losing that SD card yesterday and not knowing where it was at. So I'm back here pulling out rope, getting ready, and look. I cannot believe how lucky I just got. So, even though I just told you I might not be including many pictures, this did go through a heavy rain earlier. As you can see, everything's, just beat down and wet. If this still reads, I included more pictures on here than I realized. Awesome. So, what did y'all think about that? I told y'all we have bears around here. It was a shock to me when we first bought the property. Just a couple little bucks showing up this year. That's pretty typical. I don't really start seeing the bachelor bucks till kind of next month in September. And hopefully all these little fawns keep making it. Coyotes are starting to make a comeback around here. That's something I mentioned in a couple episodes ago that I really need to work on, and I've got to get my butt in gear on that. When I first bought this property, I was finding dead fawns, dead turkeys, deer everywhere. Even caught a couple coyotes in the act of killing deer. And I get it. That's what they're supposed to do. But at the same time, the deer are something that we enjoy. It's something we use as our food. And no matter how you look at it, agree with it or not, I'm kind of farming them. I plant and spend a lot of money feeding them, taking care of them. I don't harvest many. And they're kind of, kind of a crop for me, just like cows and corn and everything else you grow. So I just kind of find it my responsibility, if I'm going to take care of them and keep trying to raise them on this property, that I need to protect them. As weird as that sounds, being I'm a hunter, just kind of the way I see it. All right, moment of truth. That feeder is pretty much empty. I struggled in the past with that thick rope to let it down, having no weight in it. Let's see if it comes down easier this time with a much smaller rope. Well, I can tell you that worked out much better. That's one of those projects I've been putting off forever. It doesn't take long. I don't know why, I just keep forgetting about it. But it'll make life a little easier and things a little more convenient when I come down here. Well, probably every week, a week and a half to fill this. You can see the extra trouble that I have to go through to keep the bears from tearing this down. When I first bought this property, I had a feeder post in the back and a feeder just like this in the ground with a, I think it was 16-foot 4x4. And I got pictures of a bear one night pushing and pushing and pushing until he finally worked the ground loose enough that he pushed the feeder over just high enough he could swat it, knocked it to the ground, tore everything all up. So I've kind of had to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, for feeders. I put this 8-foot piece of tin on here years ago and screwed it in, and it's worked excellent. You can see all the claw marks. I mean, there's just claw marks everywhere. Here's the crazy thing. There's claw marks all the way up there, here, over here. And I'm standing flat-footed on the ground, reaching high as I can. That's about 7 foot, 7 foot 6 inches right there. And claw marks in the pipe up there. All over here, and I've painted this a couple times too. So there's been some pretty decent sized bears on the property. I also have to wrap my rope up and tuck it in the tin up there. And that has worked thus far because I've got it a little ways off the ground that's a little over 8 feet. I've yet to have a bear big enough to get the rope, because if they get it, they'll probably tear this whole thing down. I'm going to keep this episode short because I've got to go pack the boat. I'm going fishing tomorrow. I'm going to treat myself. It's been a couple of weeks and kind of want to make a video for the other channel. But since this video has kind of been about hunting, you know, with the pictures and the feeder there, thought I'd come out here and show y'all. If y'all watched the last episode or episode before, I talked about wanting to hunt out here in the woods this year, which is typically how I've always grown up and hunted. Florida is thick, full of trees. We always find acorn trees, hunt woods, hunt trails, hunt high ridges. That's just what we've always done. I've never had the luxury of a food plot. I'm gonna be honest with you, big bucks just down here, they don't go to food plots, but it's so nice sitting in a comfortable shooting house with a heater or a fan, whatever you need, and watching the does and yearlings come out there. And the bucks do come out there some, but majority of them are gonna stay in swamps just like this. So I talked about in that other episode about some very special trees that we have down here, and it's called white oak acorns. And I know a lot of y'all from up north, and that's a very common tree. It is not a common tree in the South. And this tree right here, these little ones right here, this guy right there, that big one over here, that's all white oaks. And I've got a few more tucked up in here. It's kind of one area to where they've just always grown. Some more over here. And I have found growing up throughout my childhood, when you find a spot in the woods where there's white oak acorns and they drop, our deer are going there first without a doubt. Probably the second favorite acorn, in my personal opinion, is live oaks. And I have some of those in here, and they don't always drop. Some years they drop great, some years not so much. Now what we are very well known for down here in the South is called water oaks. They grow all along swamps like this. That's a lot of what you're looking at out here, although I have a variety of trees. And the deer absolutely will eat those acorns. But I have found they'll go to white oaks first, then live oaks, then eventually they'll go to the water oaks, which are everywhere else. So I think I need to hunt this area this year. I'm probably going to put a stand up in here. I feel like last year I was missing out on some bucks that were holding up in here following does, but they wouldn't commit to going out in a wide open food plot, and that's understandable. So there's a lot of times the does would run out feed, come right back in here, and I really think I was missing out. So I'm gonna put cameras up in here coming up very soon, see what's walking the trail, what's spending time in here, and we're gonna get a tree stand moved over. Well, as you may or may not be able to see, I am pouring sweat, absolutely pouring. It is so hot. I was thinking about getting on the tractor and disking in the food plot. Like I said, I gotta get the boat ready for a fishing trip tomorrow. I'm sweating, there's mosquitoes everywhere. I think I'm done for the day. So hopefully you enjoyed the pictures, this kind of little different episode. Let me know if you did. I'll include more of this. Now, if I get some monster buck, yeah, probably not going to include it on camera because a lot of locals watch this, so don't need y'all snooping around. But I can let you know thus far, out of all the years I've owned this property, I've only had one really decent buck. Everything else is just kind of smaller bucks, which Florida's known for. Lots of does and yearlings, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I enjoy watching them just as much as I do hunting. With that said, we supplement a lot of our red meat with hunting and wild game, so I will be pursuing that this year, and I'll include that on the other channel that's more for hunting and fishing. Links in the description. Like I said, this channel here is more for homesteading, tractor work, showing off the property, etc. So thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next episode.